Hi, and welcome to Hot Topics. This is the 5th episode in a series that we've been doing. My name is Captain DeMarco, and Chief David Destefano will be with us also today. And the Chief will be introducing our new forcible entry prop. Chief Destefano.
I'd like to introduce everyone to the Belmont Fire Department's forcible entry door prop. We've had this prop for about a year, and I thought folks might be interested to learn how we train to gain entry. This mock-up allows our firefighters to simulate either an inward or outward swinging door. We can use various techniques to apply leverage and overwhelming force to defeat various locks and door systems. This prop uses a ripped-down piece of 2x4 to simulate the strength of a locking device. We can reset it over and over again, allowing all our firefighters to gain valuable training time with a skill that they would normally only practice at actual incidents.
Hi again. So we're going to be talking about ceiling fan fires. Between 2001 and 2022, according to the Massachusetts Department of Fire Services, there's been roughly about 917 ceiling fan fires. Of those ceiling fan fires, there's been an approximate loss cost of about $24 million. We're going to show you a YouTube video, and that YouTube video is from the Cleveland Fire Department, Fox News, and they're going to be talking to you in regards to ceiling fan fires.
Vent fans like this one are commonplace in many bathrooms.
It is an electronic appliance. It's something that we take for granted it's going to work when we flip the switch.
Olmsted Township Fire, however, is alerting residents after 2 calls. One in which this bathroom exhaust fan started a fire. The homeowner estimates it had been running for as long as 18 hours.
It was acting up on her, and we think that's what happened. The switch was on, and that was the origin of the fire.
A second call was made after a similar vent fan overheated.
It melted, the exhaust fan was on, and it has like an exhaust fan light combination. And the light fixture melted off and dropped down, hit the floor. It alerted them. They went up and discovered that it was smoldering on fire.
Fire Chief Pat Kelly says in the first call, a smoke detector exactly like this one helped alert the homeowner, who was able to get to safety, stressing the need to have working detectors. The recent calls also leave the department urging residents to check and clean bathroom vent fans, maintain them properly, and avoid leaving them running for long periods of time.
These are electric appliances. They tend to overheat if left on unattended, or they're not maintained. We're not trying to create a sense of panic. The point of the message was to create a sense of awareness.
So why we're so interested in ceiling fan fires is because lately the Belmont Fire Department has been responding to fires that have occurred in homes or in structures that have involved ceiling fans. And of those fires, there has been a significant loss produced by them, whether or not it's your rotary ceiling fan that we're going to be taking a look at, or it's your vented ceiling fan. There is a reason to believe that if you leave those ceiling fans on and you don't shut them off for a significant period of time, then there could be a fire that could happen with the ceiling fan, and as has happened in Belmont. Okay, so now let's take a look and see why we've had some ceiling fan fires or what could cause them. So we're going to take a look at some ceiling fans that have actually been recalled. And the manufacturer, Delta Electronics, has put out a fan that's called the Harbor Breeze Bath Fan in heater and light. And that ceiling fan has been recalled. It's actually caused some injuries due to it overheating and then smoking. So take a look at the website that has been put out by the Consumer Public Safety Commission, and you will see that they recalled a fan. 450 Braun Newtone fans were recalled in Massachusetts as well as the country itself. And about 200 of those same fans were also recalled in Canada. Take a look now at the ceiling fans, and you'll see that these rotary ceiling fans can accumulate dust on them. And when they do, the dust builds up. It also builds up in the housing itself, within the motor. And a lot of times, if you don't clean out this dust, that dust can cause the fan to overheat in the housing unit itself, where the motor is. Also, another thing that you need to pay attention to is having these ceiling fans installed by a licensed electrician, someone who's a professional, and not just somebody that thinks that they know how to wire one up, because that's where we find that there is electrical problems due to these ceiling fans operating, especially for a long period of time, and then the wiring itself heating up or not connected correctly. The fans can build up dust right on their blades, and when they do build up dust, that dust can get circulated right into the housing of the fan where the motor is. And as that builds up inside of the housing, what ends up happening is the motor doesn't get to breathe as well, and it can retain its heat. When it does, that could cause smoking to happen from the fan, or it could actually cause a fire. And when that fire does happen, then we all know that that's a situation we don't want to be involved in. So what we'd like you to do is clean your fan, clean the blades, clean it often, maybe once a week, once a month, whatever it takes to get that dust off of there and within the housing itself. And also make sure that when you're putting a fan in, a ceiling fan in, that you have it done by a professional. Someone who's a licensed electrician and not just somebody who thinks they know what they're doing. Somebody who has a license is able to put it in, because we're finding also that fires do occur from the electrical wiring. Once the motor gets heated up, then it could spread to the wiring, or the wiring itself could get restricted and then heat up and then cause a fire. And you wouldn't know it until the fire was actually going, and then you'll just see it smoking. And by that time, it's time for you to get out and call 911, because that's the most important thing for your own safety. So let's take a look at the next slide, and that is ceiling fan fires and how we can prevent them. So consider replacing older fans. Once they're old, they start to break down, and I know there's a cost factor behind it, but it's better to be safe than sorry. The cost of the fan won't be as much as the actual cost of a fire that's in your home. So let's replace those older exhaust fans or rotary fans. And then listen for any kind of scraping noises with your exhaust fan or your rotary fan, or even your side-mounted fan that may be inside of your house or in your attic or someplace like that. If you're not paying attention and your attic fan is continuously going, that means it's not being monitored. That means that there could be a situation where if you actually saw the fan smoking, you could shut it right down. And that's what we want you to do immediately. Shut the fan off. Anytime that you see something like that smoking, shut it off, cut the power to it, and that will in itself kind of isolate the fan just to itself being on fire. And then it won't have any extra energy in there to continue the fire. So shut the fan off, but you wouldn't be able to do that if it was up in your attic and you didn't know whether or not it was actually smoking, and that's when it can start a problem. And we've actually had fires that have done that and been in the attic, and before you know it, the whole attic is on fire. And the only way you would know it is if you had a smoke alarm up in the attic or a heat detector up in the attic, okay? Or the fire and smoke made it to the floor below, and by that time, the fire is already out of control, and you definitely would need to leave your house or wherever you are. And this is where we find that most of the ceiling fan fires are occurring, is inside of bathrooms. I myself have actually gone on at least 2 or 3 of these type of fires. And these fires have occurred because people have forgotten to shut their ceiling fans off inside of the bathroom. They'll take a shower, they'll keep it on because they don't want the steam to strip the paint or the wallpaper that's inside of the bathroom, or set off the smoke alarm that might be in the hallway, so you put the fan on, and that's That's something that we do. I do at my house the same thing. But after you've taken your shower and after you've come out of the bathroom, it's definitely something that you should think of, and that is to shut off your ceiling fan. That's an important thing to do. We've had people not shut their ceiling fan off, and then the fan has gone off all night. It's left on, and then the fire has occurred at like 3 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning, and they get woken up by the smoke alarm that's, you know, in the hallway, and by that time the smoke is already into the hallway. It might cause you to not be able to see very well, or cough, tear up, or even feel like you're going to pass out from the smoke. So that's why we want you to shut off that ceiling fan so there isn't any of those problems. So once again, if you hear like a scraping noise or something different than what you normally hear from your ceiling fan, shut it immediately and have it checked by a licensed professional. If you do leave it on and it does create a fire, then you want to shut it immediately. If you can't make it to shut it immediately because the smoke and the fire is now overcome that area, get out. Just get out of your house. Don't even bother trying to fight any fire or anything. We don't want you to fight a fire. We want you to get out and go to safety. How do we reduce the risks of ceiling fan or bathroom fan fires? Well, keep your bathroom fan clean. Keep it running when it needs to be running and shut properly when it needs to be shut properly. Check your owner's manual for any service recommendations that they may recommend. My wife, she keeps all the manuals for all of our equipment in the house, which is good. God bless her, because honestly, we've had some things that we've had to refer to the owner's manual. So do that. Keep your owner's manual and make sure that you refer back to it and what you need to do. And then remove any buildup at all. I just took my ceiling fan down the other day and I just cleaned it, and I could not believe the amount of dust or gook that was settled in. I know that you or I are trying to be clean people, so you know this is something that's probably not on our radar all the time to clean our ceiling fan, but it is something you definitely need to do. You should take down that front screening part if you can, or your blades if you need to remove them, or if you can't remove them, go with your manufacturer's specifications, and they may not recommend that you move those blades or do anything with that, but you can maybe take a little bit of a dry sponge or something like that and go over the ceiling fans or the housing itself, or vacuum it. Vacuum it. That's what we recommend too, is taking your vacuum with an extension. If you're an older adult or senior, we don't recommend you doing that. We just recommend that you have a professional come in and actually, you know, utilize the vacuum, or a loved one or somebody that you can trust that will vacuum around it. And if they have to get on a chair, that's fine as well, as long as you do it in safety. We recommend a ladder, like a step stool with like a ladder, like an A-frame ladder that is easy to get up and also displaces your weight, and it's trustworthy, so it's not unbalanced. Let's take a look at cleaning your ducts themselves. Soap and water might be something you want to use, but I would recommend that if you do use soap and water, that you make sure the sponge, again, is not soaking wet, okay? It's wrung out very well, and that it's almost like just wiping a surface clean like you would your own cabinets, okay? You don't want to cause too much water to be there because, again, there's electricity up there, there's wiring, and you don't want to get involved with water and electricity because they definitely don't mix. All right, and make sure when you're cleaning your ceiling fans, whether it's a rotary fan, in-wall fan, or a fan that's affixed to your ceiling, make sure that it's off when you're cleaning. Now, we also recommend that you use LED light bulbs for your bathroom fans, okay? Use maybe even canned air, the kind that you would use for your keyboard on your computer. And you could use canned air, and maybe that would spray it out and get rid of any dusts or anything like that. So mark your calendars. at least once a month, maybe at the beginning of the month or the end of the month, or maybe twice a month, or maybe once a week if you've got OCD like I do, when you want to keep things clean. And, mark it down so that you know that you are cleaning on that specific day. It's also a good day to check your smoke alarms, because once a month you're supposed to be checking your smoke alarms to see if they're working properly. So the day that you check your smoke alarms would be the day that you clean all of your fans. And that way you keep yourself from having a fire inside of your house. When to turn off your ceiling fan? There are certain signs. Those signs will indicate an imminent ceiling fan fire, such as smoke, all right? Visible damage to wiring, again, older ceiling fans. Or it could be a newer ceiling fan that just something happened during installation. And that's why, again, we recommend that you use a licensed professional. Scorch marks around that ceiling fan. You may not have seen a fire, you may not see the smoke, but you might smell smoke. And then the next thing you know, as you're looking around, because you're being a good detective and looking around your house, and it might smell electrical or sound like something is sizzling, or it could just be scorch marks that are around that vent itself. And that would indicate that, there's something electrical going on and it's heating up too much. And then there might be an intermittent operation of the fan itself. It goes on, it shuts off, it comes back on, it makes a noise, something like that. Those are all indications of shutting it off, and let's call the fire department and have them come and take a look at it, or call a licensed electrician and have that person, he or she, take a look at it. Flickering lights for the fans that do have lights, like we have a heat fan inside of our bathroom. So it not only does it have a light, but it also emanates some heat from it as well. And if that's flickering or that's heating up too much, again, shut it down. If you notice that you're kicking it up to its fastest rotation, but it's not really getting to that speed that you want it to go, that could be an indication that there's a resistance in electricity going to that, and that it might need to be replaced, or you definitely need somebody who's a professional to look at it. A whining sound in that rotary blade that's winding up, it sounds like it's going to take off, or it sounds like it's just having a lot of pressure in there, or a lot of strain from it circulating. And another thing is smoke or an odor. And here's another thing that we find, that if you have a bathroom ceiling fan, or you have a fan that a pipe is burst and there's water coming through that fan itself, or any fixture that's electrical that you see water coming through it, shut that fixture off immediately. If you shut it off at the light itself, at the fixture, do that. If you can't make it to there, and you can make it to your basement before you leave, you can shut it off at the breaker panel. But if it's too much smoke and fire, we don't even want you to do that. We just want you to get out, okay? All right. Well, this has been our preview on ceiling fan fires. I just want you to know that ceiling fan fires, although not overly prevalent, have occurred on many occasions in Belmont and throughout the Commonwealth. So take care, and if you have any questions, please, you can contact Chief Destefano or myself, Captain DeMarco, at our email addresses, and thank you very much.